Hello, 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 my No More People Pleasing family. It is so good to talk with you this evening. I hope you all are having a good day today, a good evening, and so glad to be back with you. This summer has been kind of hectic. We've been in and out, trying to get back on a routine, but so glad to talk with you once again. And hoping that we can talk about some things that's going to improve your life in a dynamic way. That's what we're here to do. We come here to just talk about things. A lot of time I'm just talking about experiences that I'm seeing with clients, experiences that I know about that individuals who have people pleasing tendencies go through. And when you're going through this, it's not something to be sad about, to beat yourself up about. But the goal is, and this is what I want you all to do, is try to gain a focus on change. Because the reality is that when we are stuck in people pleasing situations, many times we really don't do well with change. I want you to think about that. How well do you do with change? How well do you do with taking risk in relationships? Not risk from the standpoint of just taking individuals in, giving them the benefit of the doubt, but taking risks to leave when you get that gut sign that something's not right. It's interesting that how many times we can get that gut feeling that something is not right, and then we rationalize it and we just stay in place, stay in the same situations. But sometimes we need to take the risk to try something different, try something new. So many of us are trapped in situations that we perpetuate. What happens is we're in one bad relationship and we finally get out, we leave a small window of time and we're right back into another relationship. And if you've been like this, whether it's a relationship with romantic, with friends, even with close loved ones, um, that window of time that you give yourself before you shift into a replacement relationship, a rebound relationship, okay? Um, what have you evaluated and been able to see that you have really changed? What is different about me moving into this new relationship? How much of my old behaviors am I bringing into a new situation? If I'm bringing old behaviors into new situations, then I'm going to attract the same. And it's going to be a repeated cycle. And we're going to talk a little bit about, I want to talk a little bit about this spiral of shame that many of us go through when we're experiencing uh, breakdowns in relationships. Some of us, the shame that we experience is tormenting. The amount of shame that we have, that we experience from being controlled by someone else, we kind of, in a sense, hand over ourselves. It's almost like a selling of our souls to other people, and we put ourselves in a position to be controlled, giving up ourselves to others, and then receiving the same result. How I don't know if some of you all that have experienced that in relationships. It's like, how am I moving into relationships where I'm giving up control and allowing for people to just, in a sense, it feels like they just do what they want. I understand what that feels like, and I know for a fact that this can change. And we're going to talk about that a little bit about shame and how to break loose from the spiral of shame. Brene Brown, for those of y'all who are not familiar with her, you should look her up. Brene Brown is an awesome writer, presenter, mental health specialist, and she talks a lot about shame. Okay, she talks a lot about shame, and she's a good person to listen to. But she described shame as having a focus on self, but not in a positive way, a negative focus on self. How many of us, how many of us have a negative focus on self? Before I even go into some of these interventions and ways that we can change these situations, I want to just give you a clue of something that will alleviate it just right off the bat. Okay. And this is thought stopping is what we call it. Thought stopping involves a technique of not allowing for negativity, negative thoughts to just surface and go through my mind. In other words, like I'm not giving time for opportunity for these negative thoughts to ruminate. How many of you have racing negative thoughts about yourself constantly going through your mind? And sometimes it's so many, it's like, well, how can I control that? Well, you just have to do it a little bit at a time. Start by not ruminating on the thoughts. Sometimes we can't stop the initial flow of the thoughts because they just come, because this is really how we've been built sometimes. This is how we've been groomed, and it's been going on a long time. So it's hard to undo it. But at some point, if we could just stop the negative thoughts, just think about some of the situations that you have been in, that you stayed in too long, and what would have happened if you stopped the negative thoughts that you are having about yourself, that you're thinking you're doing something wrong, that you're crazy, that oh well, maybe I'm overthinking this, or maybe I don't need this, or letting people talk you into their realities. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Letting people talk you into their realities of control. Okay? So uh when we have a focus on self that's negative, sometimes we start getting impressions that the bottom line core belief, and we want to shift that core belief, is that it gets down to that I'm not that good, I'm bad. Okay, that's what we have to sometimes process our way down to it. But that's the root of it, is that we feel that there is something wrong with us, and this is the reason why often we will apologize. Some of you all, I don't know if you experienced this, that you're a repetitive apologizer. Like you're just apologizing for the smallest thing. I have clients that come to me and get support, and when they start to break down and cry about something, they're apologizing to me. And I'm reinforcing, you don't have to apologize. It's okay for you to feel. And we're going to talk about that. It's okay for you to feel. And guess what? Your feelings don't have to make sense to you. Hopefully they do. But if they don't have to make sense, because you just feel it, and there's nothing wrong with feeling. Okay. It's a good thing, actually. Okay. And so something's wrong with me, right? This is why we apologize a lot, and we have a preset way of thinking that where we automatically believe I'm wrong, right? I'm wrong. We we actually align ourselves with individuals that we, in a sense, respect. Maybe it's because of what we think that they do, their intellectual ability, how they look, how they dress, what they maintain as far as career, something that we have found in certain individuals to where we almost honor them. And so we put ourselves in a position as if we're not expert. Now, we do a lot of helping, but we don't feel expert. We do a lot of help. This is the thing, too, to question yourself about in these relationships. Okay, I didn't think I was going to go this long. But in these relationships, you know, how much are these people really seeking to learn from you, or are we just doing for them? Like, how much do they really respect you to the point that they're trying to help you to build? Okay. How much do they respect you to the point that they even really care about, what's going on with you and your well-being, without trying to shift the conversation to something that's a need for them? Right. Okay. So this is the thing, the shame spiral. The shame spiral. What's the shame spiral? Some of us, I want to help you all with a few touch points on how to get out of the shame spiral. How do I get out of this place to where I'm in these types of relationships, okay, to where I'm attracting these types of people? And this is, if you listen to me, this is a lot what we focus on, but it's the shame spiral is very dangerous, by the way, okay? In the shame spiral, we start to get these thoughts about ourselves. We start to have negative thoughts about ourselves. We start to have negative beliefs about ourselves. We then start to have self-worth concerns. Okay. We start not to like ourselves so much. Okay. Do you really like yourself? Do you really love yourself? Okay. Some of us do. Some of us have issues there. This is all okay. Okay, it's all okay. Because we're gonna fix it. All right. Disappointment with myself. That's one thing. Like it's all right to not be happy about something that we've done, but just disappointment. Did you know that okay, and then sometimes we make that bad decisions that we knew something bad was gonna happen, and it did happen, and we have this disappointment, but we ruminate on it. There we go. Thought stopping, stop that negative. You screwed up. You're not going to be the first time, not going to be the last. We have to get to a point to where we can be okay with not being perfect. And in a sense, like when I come and start talking, I'm going to say something stupid. I already know it. Usually I do. Sometimes I get out of this and I don't say something stupid. Okay? Something's going to be wrong. But we have to get to a point to where it's okay that I don't have to be perfect. As a matter of fact, most people don't want perfect people. Okay. They want people that seem like freaking real people instead of like a robot or somebody that's trying to judge or outdo me, make me feel like I'm stupid. Okay. So anyway, disappointment with self, depression, and then we start to lose hope on ever experiencing happiness. We lose hope. And so I'm gonna talk a little bit about a few things that causes this and how we get out. But so the question we start to ask ourselves is, what is causing you to feel this way? What's causing you to feel shame? Why have we gotten to a point in our lives where shame is okay? Why have we gotten to a point where fear is okay? And hold up now. We're not processing this in a negative way, because some of you all, with me just asking this question, we're already going into an attack mode on ourselves. Stop attacking yourself. Be gentle, be kind, be loving, be patient, be hopeful. These are good fruits. Okay. So many times it's a good conditioning. I'm not going to go through that again. I talk about this all the time. It's a conditioning. It's something that's been groomed and nurtured into us. But one of the things I always like to start off with is check your environment. Some of you all have a difficult time with this, but check who's around you. Stop allowing others to convince you that you have done something wrong. You can give it a consideration if you choose, but at some point, you've got to go into your quiet place. And I always talk about this, especially with a lot of the women I work with, is that there is a little girl inside of you. Okay. I have a closet over here. She's been pushed into the closet and silenced. She doesn't have a voice. Somebody threw her in the closet, but now somebody's keeping her in the closet. Whoever put her in the closet, okay, or influence her to run, most of the time is not a significant uh person of influence. Sometimes the people who put her in the closet or caused her to run and disappear are not even here anymore. Right. And so in order for there to be a change, we've got to let her speak. Now sometimes she speaks, but it's when it's on behalf of others. But when it comes to her needs, she's quiet. So much to the point that you have denied and not listened to her perpetually, and not listening to her and silencing her because she's been silenced has caused really bad decisions to be made. Some decisions that the impact can't be undone, right? Well, let's not go to shaming and blaming. See, some of y'all, you did it. You did it. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. we're trying to alleviate this cycle. And part of that is by replacing other people's negative thoughts with positive thoughts of our own. We have to question what we deem as the knowledge. But some of y'all have brought people in your life that you just automatically give them some type of authority over you. Nobody knows you better than her. Listen to her. Give her a voice, for crying out loud, because it's time. That's what we need to do. So part of doing that part, now that's a whole cycle to get there. But for starters, we've got to stop allowing others to convince us that we've done something wrong. And part of fixing this, and you'll hear this over and over again from me, part of fixing this is by being okay. Oh, being okay with being wrong, possibly. Most of the time, you're not even wrong, and you're not wrong about your own feelings. So if somebody's telling you that you shouldn't feel that way, boy, you probably need to run. That's a fat red flag. Somebody's going to tell you how you so that's control. You're controlling how, like, it doesn't have to make sense to you, but are you having empathy for me? So those type of people, again, we're talking about letting other people control, get into our ear, making bad decisions. We got to check that, right? We've got to check that. Get negative people out of your ear, because you need to be able to hear her. She's somewhere fetal, scared to talk. And the sad thing about it, y'all, and this is okay, it's not a negative thing, we have perpetuated the cycle so much that we have become the ones to silence her. She's got to come out the closet. She's got to be given voice, and this will change the atmosphere. But she can't be run off by negativity, because she's sensitive. She deserves to be heard. She deserves not to be judged. But who is judging? Okay, so that's number one. So we've got to get out of this cycle of feeling um um letting other people control us. And when someone has a suggestion about how you should do something, or you start to feel like you're stupid, or you start to question yourself, we need to step back for a moment and just again say, yeah, but what about how I feel? Okay, we talked about that. Stupid people, okay, if you're thinking that you're stupid, and you don't have much to bring to the table. I remember I used to just think like, Choya, you have no creative thought. This is how I used to talk to myself. You just have no creative thought. Everything you do, it's like a remake of something else. And you're just not creative. You know, you're not. This is what we're trying to cut. This is the thought stop. And I had to do it. I mean, I just don't think the same anymore. And it's a beautiful thing. Okay. Because I'm allowed to screw up and not be beaten over, in the head, mentally, by myself. Or it's not going to be anybody in my circle that's like, that's done. Right. Okay. So the thing is that, what if I was stupid, which you're not? Stupid people aren't allowed to have feelings. Okay, so it still doesn't take away, if you think you're stupid, which you're not, it doesn't take away from the fact that you should be able to have feelings. And this is what I want to focus on, and we're going to end it. Is I want you to, boy, as time goes fast, focus on compassion. Ooh, focus on compassion. Do you know what compassion is? I think you do, because many of you have been very compassionate of your children, or compassion, had shown a lot of compassion for your children, for your spouse, for your partners, for your friends, loved ones, and relatives, people on the job. Shown a lot of compassion, right? But have you shown compassion for her, right? And why not? Why not? Have you also been conditioned to treat her the way that you were programmed by someone else to believe and then to treat her? Have you also been conditioned to do the same thing? And if so, that can change. because you have the power now. You're not in a helpless place. You have the power. So we want to have compassion. I'm gonna give a definition for compassion when you for somebody else. So this is what it looks like. Compassion is the deep awareness of the suffering of another. We're talking about you. We're talking about her. Is there a deep awareness because we busy ourselves so much to where we can't hear anything that's coming out that closet. We silence it. We busy ourselves so that we don't have to endure the thoughts of the shame, this low sense of self-worth, the depression. And we busy ourselves with people who we'll find that many times don't have our best interests. So compassion is the deep awareness. We're going to end it. The deep awareness of suffering, of the suffering of another, coupled with the wish to relieve it. Do you have a wish to relieve yourself? Okay. It involves empathy, kindness, and a desire to help others in distress. So, are you having empathy, kindness? Are you having patience? Are you having hope? Are you having trust? If you don't trust yourself, how will you be in a trusting relationship with someone else in that workout? It's not going to work out if you because if you don't trust yourself, then you're trusting them to, in a sense, manage you. Trust comes with love for self. So that's what I want to end with. We've got to be able to talk about our feelings, right? We've got to stop allowing others to convince us of that we're wrong. So we've got to clean out these negative relationships. We've got to do the thought stopping. Okay. We've got to stop believing that we're stupid. And even if we wanted to believe that, so what? Okay, what's the point? I can't have feelings if I'm stupid. Okay. So getting rid of the people that don't allow me to have feelings or talk about them. And then we've got to focus on compassion of self. So that little girl, she could come, she can sit on your lap. Y'all can embrace and have that conversation and that intimacy that you've never had. Okay. So we're gonna let y'all go. Um, I think I'm gonna be out of town on vacation. And so we're gonna have to figure out how to get something for next week because I don't want to leave y'all hanging. I appreciate you all that tune in and that are listening. I hope it's helping. Comment in the chat if this moved you. Also, feel free to comment about things that you've experienced. When the posts come out, look at the responses. There are other women waiting to hear and to contribute. Okay, because your experience is their experience. So share. All right, we're gonna let you go. Y'all take care and have a good night. All right, bye bye.